We're live, folks. Back again. Before we actually get into the 1 o'clock segment called Snake Chat, which is going to be my favorite segment of the day, I want to thank all of our very generous donors. And I am very, very excited to put this next number up on our board. We have now raised over $10,000. Thank you very much, SELA supporters. And boop, just like that. I also want to remind everybody that if you donate $500, you get an autographed copy of Seasons at SELA. If you donate over $1,000, you get entered into a raffle for a private family group tour. And if you donate over $3,000, you will get all of that and more. So we hope that everybody sticks around. So Rusty is now working our camera. And I want to talk a little bit about snakes and snake chat. So while we're still waiting, it's 1 o'clock right now. So while we're still waiting for everything and people to tune in, snakes. They are amazing. And one of our, I think, our biggest hits when it comes to our edutainment is when we talk about snakes. And we can literally talk about snakes and tie any ecological thing that we have to back there. But one of my absolute favorite activities that we do with the kids is what's called biological keys. Sometimes they're also called taxonomic keys, or as I like to refer to them, dichotomous keys, because they include two characteristics. So it's really easy for kids to learn, and it's a great skill to have. So when we're talking about a dichotomous key, you're comparing one characteristic to another. Legs to no legs. Obviously, if it doesn't have any legs, it's possible that it could be a snake. And I actually give these kids live snakes. And you're going to see some of those live snakes today during Snake Chat. So if you can hear it in the background, Simone's getting our first creature involved. But I just want to tell you this. Every snake has its role in the environment. I hate people that tell me stories about dead snakes, because the only good snake is a live snake. Okay? Snakes do not want to hurt you. Snakes just want to be left alone. So when you look at the way some of these snakes are actually colored, these snakes are camouflaged in. So while Simone's getting that one going, I'm going to come over here and grab one of my no-legged friends. Now, this is what we call a snake bag. Now, snake bags get tested a lot. I have to be able to breathe through them. If I can breathe through them, the snakes can breathe through them. And I normally get them wet when I first test them. I made this bag way back when I was in college. I won't tell you how long ago that was. So now this is a snake that everybody should know and love. This first snake is a prairie king snake. Now, prairie king snakes live, you guessed it, on the prairie and in the grasslands. Now these snakes, if you look at the way they're colored, you saw when I was talking about camouflage? He perfectly camouflaged to blend in with our greens and our browns and our yellows that make up our grassland savanna out here. Now they have that second part of their name, king snake. And you know why they're called king snakes? It's because they are the king of snakes. These king snakes are actually immune to rattlesnake venom and will eat rattlesnakes. And speaking of rattlesnakes, Simone is walking over here now, and I'm going to hold the microphone for her. And she has a
black-tailed rattlesnake. So this is a black-tailed rattlesnake. The species name is Crotalus ornatus. They're endemic to this area, so they're native to, their range covers, dispersed areas of central Texas. And then they're also native to West Texas and parts of Mexico and New Mexico. The species name Crotalus ornatus means Crotalus is going to be the genus name, and that means rattle, and that is Greek. And then ornatus means ornate, or kind of like adorned or decorated. That's the Latin species name, and it describes the color pattern. What's really cool about blacktails is that their color pattern can vary depending on their geographic location. And this is because this species relies heavily on really good camouflage. So we can see it, like this guy's color pattern here. He has a lot of gray scales, and then he has some lateral coloration. He has a little green and dark brown on his color blotches, and then he has these white scales interspersed in between. Sometimes these colors are going to be black, sometimes the whole color pattern has a green tinge to it, and this really varies depending on the environment they're in and what they need to camouflage into. This species in particular is known for being a more docile rattlesnake because they'll rely on camouflage heavily before they start to rattle. Now, I think they get this reputation because they're native to areas that where the western diamondback is also native to, and western diamondbacks are known for their bad behavior. But overall, I think this species is pretty more docile than other rattlesnakes. So you can see he's rattling the whole time here because he's agitated. But rattlesnakes can actually rattle 3 to 4 hours nonstop if they need to. And this rattle is actually made up of keratin.
Tube. And this is a clear plastic tube that researchers actually use to keep themselves safe from venomous snakes and to keep the snake itself a little more relaxed. Because what I'm about to do is free form with my snake hooks a copperhead for us. So Simone, thank you very much for teaching us all about the blacktail. So now for this portion, and for what Simone does too, I really want to point out that Simone is IACUC certified for this, as am I, and I actually teach venomous snake handling workshops to animal control officers and the highway department. And when you teach these workshops, trust me, one 8-hour workshop does not make you an expert, okay? So by watching us today, I'm not encouraging you to try this at home because all of these snakes are live and they are venomous. So they're like loaded guns right now. And so we have to be very careful the way we handle that. So when you're handling these snakes in the wild, we have special tools for that. And the tools that you're going to see me use today are these hooks. Okay? You're going to see me use 2 of these. And you can see mine are adjustable and I can use them how I need to. But for the average person that doesn't necessarily have over 10,000 hours of venomous snake handling, we have these grabbers. This is what I suggest everybody that's interested in working with snakes try and use. Because even with non-venomous snakes, this is a really good way of training. So go get yourself a big 7.5-foot long coach whip that's very ornery. And when you feel comfortable handling with this, then go get yourself a more ornery, smaller coach whip and make sure that you can avoid being struck and bitten by that. And then when you feel comfortable with that, you can move into these snake hooks. Now, I have been a professional herpetologist and I've been handling venomous snakes since I was 16. I started working with PA Fish and Game on some timber rattlesnake research. But when I was in undergrad, I did a project on this next species. And I'm going to hand the microphone now to Simone while I get this thing out.
So I can talk a little bit about tongs. Tongs are really great because they're more intuitive, but what you think you want to be careful about is it's much more easier to injure the snake if you grasp on really, really hard. And it's because a lot of people are nervous with handling. But if you need to move a snake out of your house, and obviously we don't want to kill any snakes because all snakes are good snakes, tongs are really awesome because the snake hooks take a little bit more practice.
Yeah, so what I have here, which might look like a normal orange bucket from Home Depot, secret's out, it is, but it's modified. There's special holes in there, and then we've got a special lid that seals. And this is what in the business we call a hot box. So this quote-unquote hot box, we know, you see how it's got the black lip? and this has got a yellow lid, we now know this is live, that there is a venomous snake in here. So if Simone or Steven or Christina or somebody else that's out here sees this bucket, they know that there is a live venomous snake right in there. So what we're going to do, we're going to unscrew this. Now, when you do this, pull it away like it's a shield. Now, this is one of my absolute favorite snakes. And I fell in love with these snakes when I was an undergrad doing some research. This is a southern copperhead. Here in the hill country and on the Bamberger Ranch, we have a different intergrade of copperhead. Whoop. We're having a little technical difficulty with the phones. Don't mind us, folks. We're only half professionals around here. I'm a professional snake handler, not videographer.
Part-time.
Part-time. Well, yes, I guess that's true. With the Sela Spectacular Picnic-a-thon, I've become part-time. All right, Simone, you're going to have to hand me the microphone. And I don't know if we're still live. I don't know what's... We're still live? All right. So I'll vamp a little bit when I talk about the copperhead here. These copperheads are the perfect ambush predator. And I'll go back to my point on the intergrade here in the hill country. So this is a southern copperhead, and we also have broad-banded copperheads here. And in the broad-banded copperhead, I got it, Stephen. No, we're good. With the broad-banded copperheads, you see those chevron patterns? They are a little bit thicker, and the coloration changes a little bit, where they get like a pale copper color or a gray. So the hill country is a mess of copperheads, and I've seen all sorts here. But this coloration here is some of my absolute favorite. So if you think about our creeks and our streams, when the fall comes and all that leaf litter hits the ground, it is really, really hard to see these snakes. So we have no idea how many copperheads we actually walk by every single day, which to me is very exciting. I love to think about that because being camouflaged like that doesn't allow them or allows them to stop being persecuted so much by humans. And it allows them to hunt. So you see what he's doing right there with his tongue? He's flicking his tongue. So he's tasting and he's smelling us all at the same time. So that forked tongue will then take all the chemicals that he's picking up right now, and then it'll go back to what's called the Jacobson's organ. And with that Jacobson's organ, he can actually see but he can taste what's going on in his environment. And let's see if we can get a close-up. They also have a thermal receptive pit. Okay? That L'Oreal pit allows them to sense infrared, and they can pick up temperature changes up to 0.02 of a degree. So what they do is they flick that tongue along a trail somewhere, and maybe they pick up a mouse or a lizard, and then it'll blend in with the leaf litter, and then it'll sit and it'll wait. And when that animal comes back, what it'll do is it will strike it, let it go. It'll strike it, let it go, and then go find it after it dies. So they are venomous. So their venom helps them subdue their prey, and it also allows them to, that also aids in digestion of their prey as well. One of my absolute favorite snakes, and I hope everybody gets the chance to appreciate this in the wild. One of the main points that I like to make about these venomous snakes are they don't want to bite you. When you think about that venom is absolutely necessary to their survival. So if a snake were to bite you and you were to properly identify it as venomous, the statistics will vary, but it's somewhere around 50% of those bites are going to be no venom injected. When you think about the drought cycles that we have here in the hill country, those drought cycles cause these snakes to go into short-term periods of starvation. And they don't want to waste that bullet on you in defense. They want to save that as long as they can. But if you were to get bit, your biggest friend is the cell phone. Call 911 as soon as you can. 911 will do a great job of meeting you, even in the extreme rural areas like we are. And we have great snake bite care. In the United States, only a handful of people die every year from snake bite. And most of those people have some kind of pre-existing condition. We have really good health care, and we're kind of spoiled here too. We have what's called a polyvalent antivenin. And what that means is if you get bit by a viper, like that black-tailed rattlesnake or this copperhead, if you get bit by a viper or cottonmouths as well, then you go to the hospital and you get treated with the same antivenin. So it's not like Africa where every cobra has its own antivenin, or in Australia where every single snake seems to have its own antivenin. We're very lucky here. Just don't get bit by a coral snake, because they stopped producing antivenin in the United States in 2013. All right. So we're
also, if you get bit, you want to make sure to immobilize the area and then hold it above your heart. It's really the only thing you can do besides calling the 911 and getting somewhere as fast as possible. Do not wait.
Yeah, you really want to stay. I know that sounds really hard to do, but practice your yoga breathing now. Go back and watch morning meditation, and stay tuned for some more Deirdre Child's cello out here at the ranch. And staying as calm as you can, moving as little as you can will help your heart rate stay low, which will help the venom not flow through your system.
That metaphor is great to keep in mind. Venom is their bow and arrow, and they are completely out of a way to hunt for at least several days if they bite you and venom is injected.
And what if you don't know what kind of snake you are bitten by?
Your best bet then, if you don't know what snake bit you, and you can't get a photograph of the snake, is still seek medical treatment. You can look at some photographs online about snake bites, and vipers, their teeth print is a little bit different than a non-venomous snake. For non-venomous snakes, you can see more rows, and they don't have a clear fang puncture mark. So in the top of his mouth is this copperhead has retractable fangs. And those fangs will be, for a snake this size, will be right around a half inch, 3/8 to a half inch long, and they will leave two clear, distinct puncture marks. There's some great photographs of a black bear that they found dead, that when they actually did the necropsy, they found two puncture marks on it, and they actually think that a big timber rattlesnake took it out. So if you don't know, err on the side of caution.
Plenty of doctors have told me that they've had people come after being bit by a rat snake. They're used to it, and it's better to be safe than sorry.
Yeah. All right, we'll put him away. You see how calm he is? This snake's my friend. He's been in captivity for a long time. We have permits, scientific research permits for all of this, and I promise we are fully licensed and insured. All right, Simone's got one more snake that she wants to share with you. And I'm going to try my best to fix the camera. Oh. Dum-da-dum. I'm getting used to vamping. You know, I promise we didn't have any of these technical issues yesterday. But that's part of the fun of being live, right?
We're back in business, folks.
Now, who wants to see Simone get bit? Is it just me? Oh, nope, I see everybody else's hands, too. There's quite a large audience for Snake Chat here in the war room. Oh, look at that big, beautiful snake. This is North America's second largest snake species that is native. Okay, those pythons in Florida don't count. So Simone, tell us a little bit of something about this. See how nervous she is, folks? That's what you don't want to be when you're handling a snake. Simone, you take the microphone.
This is the bull snake. So they are related to gopher and pine snakes. It's all Pituophis. Pituophis catenifer.
Catenifer.
Potato.
Gavin,
No.
give it.
So this is the bull snake. They're native to Texas. They're native to central, southern, and northern Texas. And then their range extends all the way up to Montana and into Canada, and will extend down into Mexico as well. So you can see their coloration. They have the species name. You want to say it again for us?
Pituophis catenifer.
Catenifer is Latin, and that means chain bearing, and that describes their color pattern, which you can see. So they have those tan, like background scales, and then you can see that chain bearing pattern all down their back. And then at the very end, you can see it kind of gets darker blotches. So these snakes will actually be confused with Crotalus atrox, which is our western diamondback snakes. Even though western diamondbacks are typically much smaller in size, if people don't get too close, you can misidentify these snakes. These snakes also have really good defensive behaviors, but they will mimic venomous snakes like vipers. So when they do feel threatened, they will assume that S strike position, and then they will hiss and also rattle the end of their tails. And it's more like a vibration, obviously, because they don't have rattles, but it does startle some people.
Quick question from the audience wanting to know, how many times have you been bitten and were any of them venomous?
Why does everybody want to know that? I will tell you, every non-venomous species that I've encountered, I have been bitten by. Even the small, secretive snakes like tantillas, it blew everybody's mind. But I did actually have I believe they're called black-headed snake, chew on me. Getting bit by one of these hurts, but it's not fatal. In terms of venomous snake bites, I've been very fortunate. I've had some close encounters, but I've been fine. And Simone has been bitten by a few non-venomous snakes, but nothing venomous.
You will never be bitten by a venomous snake if you follow all of the protocol. It's just tell yourself it's never going to happen as long as you do exactly what they tell you.
It's true. And when your flashlight goes out and there's a big western diamondback rattlesnake in the middle of Big Bend, you just stay still. And if it bites you, hopefully it hits your steel toe boot. Okay. All right, folks. Simone, did you have anything else to add? Is not an ad.
All snakes are good snakes.
All snakes are good snakes. That is the moral of this story. And I would like to thank all of you for tuning in to Snake Chat. Here in about 5 more minutes, our next video block is going to come up. It's going to be more of me. And you're going to see Christina for the first time today. She's going to get out of the war room and actually talk to you. And then at 3 o'clock, we will be back live with Book Chat. And, not going to lie, I'm still going to be talking about snakes. Because why would I not read snakes about books? Everyone should. So keep those donations coming. We're very grateful for all your support. And thank you very much. Do you know why the snakes don't laugh at my jokes? Because you can't pull their leg.